What's up, everyone? I've come to the conclusion that the majority of my videos are really self-centered. It's like, oh yeah, check out all my shinies. Check out how many raid bosses I got. You know? On this video and a lot of my future videos, I'm going to focus on helping you guys out. I know there's already tons of channels out here doing that and they have way better everything and they're just doing a better job, but you know, this is fun to me. So hopefully I can help out a couple of friends or anyone out there. So anywho, Groudon. We're going to talk Groudon. First of all, why is Groudon important? Let's start there. Oh, I only have Ultra Pulse. That sucks. Well, I'm going to show you why Groudon is such an important Pokemon to have. First of all, before we talk about how to kick Groudon's ass. So, let's use Dugtrio as an example. Let's say I catch a 100% Dugtrio and I power him up all the way. On top of that, I teach him a move which has even better DPS, like Mud Bomb. Powered up all the way. I'm talking like used up all my Stardust, all my candies, everything on this guy. There's nothing, I cannot use any more Stardust on him. He's worse than a Groudon straight out of a raid, not powered up at all, no weather boost. That's how good Groudon is. He's an amazing ground type attacker. He is a fucking unrivaled, not necessarily, Garchomp is a really good ground type attacker too, and his other advantages. But he's fucking good. You want this Pokemon. And if they ever come out with the primal form in this game, you're definitely going to want this guy. So, a lot of you already have this guy too, as well. I mean, how many times have they done a Groudon raid? I can't even count. But, how many of you are using the recommended Pokemon every time? Don't do it. It's typically recommending what's best to use defensively for the most part. And the recommended Pokemon it recommends are just fucking garbage. Like the majority of the time. I had the game recommend me a Hitmonlee against a Dragonite. For those that don't know, flying beats fighting. So that's ridiculous. And every goddamn time I see a Blissey in a gym, it recommends me a fucking Gengar instead of a Champ. The whole system they have right now for recommended Pokemon is really bad. And even still, let's say you really know what you're doing. You played, Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, Diamond and Pearl. You have it all memorized for the rest of your life on who's weak to what. You already know that Groudon is weak to water, grass, and ice. There's still a couple things, This game, if you haven't noticed, is glitchy as hell. And sometimes you just gotta glitch back, What do I mean by that? The empty party trick. So I live in Las Vegas. There's a lot of people that do raids in Las Vegas. I can typically get a huge fucking lobby. But let's say you live in like Wyoming or something and no one raids there. And there's only 3 people in your whole town besides you that raid, and none of them have multiple accounts or anything. So you have to use 4 accounts to take down Groudon. Well, if you use the new party trick, you can get in a raid 4 seconds quicker. 4 people doing it, that's 16 seconds. In fact, it might be more than 4 seconds it saves. Basically, if you don't know, and I'm sure they have plenty of videos on how to explain this way better than me because they're actually already in a raid doing it. But you get an empty party, you wait for the counter to hit 0, then at 297, and I think for regular raids it would be 197, then you go in and you select your party and then boom. It's also, I've done it at 298 before, but it was like as it was changing, just too risky. So if you fuck this up and you do it sooner than 297, typically it will kick you out completely. So yeah, just stick with 297. It'll work every time. Let's use a little incense. So yeah, I mean, that's 16 extra seconds. Have you ever been a few seconds away from beating a raid? Well, if everyone did that, it would work out. Anywho, now that we talked about that, so you know that water, grass, and ice type beats it, right? Well, okay, so what, like water type? So like, let's use like a Blastoise, right? Nope. Not necessarily. First of all, my Blastoise doesn't even use water moves. Yeah, it knows an ice move, but Pokemon that use its own type do more damage. It's called Stab. Totally sorry, I forgot what Stab stood for. But it's when, for example, fire type Pokemon that use the move Fire Fang do more damage than like a normal type Pokemon using Fire Fang, you know? It's just an example. But let's say you have a Blastoise with 2 water moves. Nope. Why, you may ask? He's a defensive Pokemon. For the most part, he doesn't do a whole lot of damage. If he knows the Community Day move, that would be the only exception, where I think a Blastoise would be good to use. So you have to find the Pokemon that have... What the fuck? How did that... Whatever. You have to find the Pokemon that do the right amount of DPS, damage per second. So, you know what? Let me just show you my party again. Kyogre does a fuck ton of damage. What are the disadvantages to the Kyogre? Let's see. So, Solar Beam will tear that Kyogre up. But for the most part, he does a shit ton of damage. He's the best water type attacker in the game right now, actually. So, use him. Palkia, its first move is Dragon Tail, which isn't a water type. But Palkia does so much damage that a Palkia with Hydro Pump, extremely good. And guess what? He resists Solar Beam. He resists Fire Blast. And he does not resist Earthquake. So he resists 2 out of 3 of Groudon's moves. Very good Pokemon to use. Roserade. Resists Solar Beam. Fucks Groudon up. Gets owned by Fire Blast though. Earthquake is pretty neutral at the point. Gyarados, great counter. So water types are usually weak to Solar Beam, but a Gyarados is water and flying. So flying resists grass. So it's a little bit neutral on the solar. You're still going to get fucked up to Solar Beam. I'm telling you, a fully powered up fucking... a charge move like that on a raid boss is going to one-hit KO almost anything. But still, like, you know, at least it resists it. It definitely resists... Well, it's neutral, better than... It'll take a Solar Beam better than Kyogre. That's what I'm trying to say. It'll resist the Fire Blast pretty good, and it'll resist the Earthquake too because Flying type resists ground. So boom. Mamoswine definitely does a lot of damage to Groudon, but unfortunately, Fire Blast is going to tear him up. Solar Beam is going to be... that one evens out. It ends up being neutral because ice resists grass, but then ground gets owned by grass. And then, let's see, Fire Blast, Solar Beam, and yeah, Earthquake will get its ass kicked ice type too. But still, he's such a strong attacker, so you're going to want to use him. There's actually an app called GoTool. which I highly recommend everyone downloading. Even if you know what you're talking about, it's always just good to refresh your memory. Boom. Here's like the list of the best Pokemon. So you see that Swampert after Community Day, he's gonna be better than that Feraligatr right there, because he has a slightly higher attack than Feraligatr, as long as he gets the same move set as him. Anywho, so what do we learn in this video? Let's recap. Groudon is useful as fuck. Don't use the recommended Pokemon. Do your research on what to use and what moves to use. Use Pokemon with good DPS. Get GoTool. Get the GoTool app. Helps a lot. And use the gym trick. I'd use the gym trick with 20 people. In fact, you should see some of the shit I've done with the gym trick. There was a Magnemite raid where I was the only instant player, and for some reason a lot of people were in this raid. And I did more damage than both teams times like 5. It was hilarious. I got in there earlier. I put in a Garchomp, and I just ended up getting like an earthquake on him by the time anyone barely even got in there, and just demolished it. I always use the gym trick. It's so much. I honestly hope they fix that one day, though. You just make it so that everyone can just get in the gym like at the correct time. But whatever. Utilize that. Anyways, I hope this helps some of you guys. I hope you guys get a bunch of shiny Groudons. I only have one. I know for a damn sure I'm going to get some more. I don't really care that much, though. I'm mostly excited to see who comes out on July 10th when he bids adieu. Anywho, that was my first video giving you guys some Pokemon tips. If anyone actually watched this fucking long-ass video all the way till the end, because I don't even think anyone actually is, say, oh my god, a Metatite hacks. Say that at the end, okay? So I know that people are actually watching this shit. Thank you.